This is an example of a XHTML file that is substantially identical to the one in the previous lesson, with the difference that the style sheet is no longer attached to the body tag with a style attribute, but instead is external to the document in a file called external.css, which we can look at here. The link tag is used to create a relationship between the XHTML document and the style sheet document. The relationship is defined in the rel attribute. Rel equals style sheet. Rel means relationship. And the type is a MIM type, which is basically always put text/CSS, because if you're using CSS style sheets, that's what that means. And href is used to specify the URL of the style sheet. And again, this is a relative URL. It may look like a file name to you and me, but it's really a relative URL. And you can put anything in here that you can put in the href of any other tag that uses href. So the link tag goes in the head container, and the link tag is not a container itself, and so it's terminated with the slash at the end of the tag itself. Now, looking at the style sheet, it has exactly what we had in the body tag in the previous example. It's got the background color and the color of the text, which is just color by itself, and the font family. Now, in the previous example, we used the word background without the dash color. Background by itself with just one argument is really just a shortcut for background color. So there's the background color and the color for the body text and the font family, Helvetica. And then that will apply. CSS examples, style sheet levels, and we look in the browser, we see we have this document up, and it looks exactly like it did in the last example. Now, just like in the last example, if we want to, we could add a style attribute to the p tag and say font family equals Georgia. And that'll turn this paragraph into using the Georgia font, and that works just like it did before. This effect of changing just one item within a document illustrates the concept of inheritance. CSS stands for cascading style sheets, so the C is cascading. And what that means is that different elements inherit properties from the elements that are syntactically above them. For example, the body tag is a container that includes all of this stuff in the body of the document. This H1 element, this paragraph element, this other paragraph element. These are all content within the body of the document. Now, if the body has a particular property, like for instance the background color or the text color, then all those subordinate elements, all those elements that are contained within the body, inherit those properties from the body. And so, for example, this paragraph, this is the second paragraph in the document. We notice that it has the same brown-colored text, it has the same yellow-colored background as the body. That's because it is contained within the body. Now, when we go and change just the font family for this one paragraph, it changes just the font family, and it continues to inherit all of the other properties from the body. And this is the essence of the power of cascading style sheets. This is what makes them so powerful and so ultimately simple to use. If you want to, you can also change just part of an element, and this is done with the span tag. Let's just take this clause of this paragraph right here and put it within a span tag, and then give the span tag a style. Take a look at that in the browser. It still has all of the other properties as the text around it. It's just bigger. And so here is yet another level of inheritance. You can change something on a small level, just a little part of the tag. This span is inline level, and so just as you would apply, say, italics, you can just put in font-style, italic, go over and look in the browser. And then just that part of it is italic. Now, of course, you can do this with an I tag. When you learn later about selectors, you'll see why it can be more powerful to use style sheets. Sometimes you're just going to want to use an I tag, and that's fine. But sometimes it'll make sense to use a style that may incorporate more than just italics. And to know that you can do that with a span and a style sheet is really, really powerful. Now, if you want to change something on a block level, for example, you want to change something that encompasses several paragraphs, and let's just duplicate this paragraph a few times, and we'll select just a couple of them here. Let's say we want to just change these two. You can use the div tag. Div does pretty much what span does, but on a block level. So I'm just going to take out these styles on these inside paragraphs and give this whole section a different font, and say here font family equals, say, Tahoma. And now we can see that the paragraphs there have their own font, which is the Tahoma font, which is different than the Helvetica, subtly different, but different. And that is accomplished with the div tag, which is a block level tag for applying styles. So later on in this section of the course, you'll learn about using selectors, which makes the div and the span even more powerful.